I love to wake up to Sunday papers. To Greg and Mike, I must be true. No other part or paper would do. You're the one that I want. You are the one I want. Sunday papers.
Read all about it. Read all about it. Sunday papers. Flop it on your doorstep. You got a morning erection. You're a little hungover from last night. But it's time to read the paper.
Coming down.
With Greg and Mike. Hey,
so
Mike.
soothing.
Hey, Mike.
Hey.
Happy birthday.
Oh, man. We're going to pretend it's tomorrow?
Well, we're recording this on Saturday, as you know, because our crack editing crew in St. Louis has to edit it overnight. All night they stay up.
It's tough when we have no... Should the listener... Hey, listeners. Should the listeners know there's zero edits in this?
We never edit. We never take anything out.
I mean,
we never
it's
tighten
probably
it up.
Abundantly clear, actually.
We never
I mean,
add...
if we did, why would we have left all that shit in there?
The only thing we do is add the laugh track. Everything else is exactly as is.
Yeah, it's like MASH. It doesn't seem like there should be a laugh track, but it works. It's a little invisible.
I have this vision of going into the Comedy Store one night, and, you know, they've got a sound guy, and have him, after I do each joke, just put a very low laugh track in, almost like so the audience can't notice it.
Yeah.
But then throughout my set, the laugh track keeps building and building. Then it's like applause breaks.
I would totally do that. Do that. What did I watch recently? There was another one where it's like, oh, this doesn't make sense. I think I watched a documentary on Monty Python. Didn't Monty Python have audience reactions?
Yes.
So that, like, they'd be outside.
And they also did, Ali G used to do it for his TV show, his British show. And it sucked. It ruined the show.
But hold on. I think we might have gotten bastardized versions of that because I think he had a Chappelle type, whatchamacallit, presentation where I think there might have been a little audience. I could be wrong. But, you know, the Chappelle's model was he comes out, live audience, and kind of does stand-up-y intro and outros of the clips. So that explained, because he'd be like, here it is, and you know an audience in a theater was watching the sketches.
I know, but I always hated that. I always thought that anytime you hear an audience like that, it's like they're talking down to you. They're saying, here's where you laugh, stupid.
Yeah, I need that. I especially need with a lot of the shit I'm watching lately. Please tell me where the joke was. There it is. Thank you. It's kind of like Big Bang Theory with their laugh track. If anyone hasn't seen that, just YouTube Big Bang Theory laughs. And the first one that was ever done is some guy just stripped the laughs out, and it is alarming.
Yeah, I saw it. It's insane.
And then people then got creative and put really funny. One is just Ricky Gervais in all the places where there should be laughs on the Big Bang Theory. And then I think people put like animal noises and all that shit too. But it's crazy how artificial it all is.
That being said, if you can have any job in Hollywood as a writer, you want to be on one of those multicam sitcoms with the studio audience because it's just, you can't fail. You just, you stand around on the set.
I did it and I failed. Go ahead. I'm listening.
Well, yeah, yours was a certain situation. You worked long hours. I just mean the hours.
Oh, yeah. No, a lot of them, it's tough. Well, we did 22, man. It's just too much. You wonder why the quality goes down. It's like they added like 9 more and under such a crunch, and you're like, all right. I mean, what are your favorite shows? It's probably a 10-episode series, 6-episode.
Right.
There's remarkable exceptions like The Office. You know what I mean? But it's a total exception.
Modern Family, I would put up there.
Well, Modern Family, I don't know that much about it. I actually was just on a call with one of the creators on a Zoom, and I didn't dare bring it up. But Levitan and...
Which guy?
Levitan.
Oh, I was on with the other guy.
Yeah, and what's his name? From Frasier, right?
No.
Charles, right?
I forget.
Is it Charles?
I did some internet game show with him.
Well, we'll look it up right now. Anyway, what happened over there, and this is not fact. This is me based on what I think I remember. They are not on speaking terms anymore.
Really?
No, and it's been that way for years. And again, part of this might be true. So just take this with a grain of salt. But what I have heard is not on speaking terms anymore. And that essentially there are 2 writers' rooms and they alternate shows.
Okay.
Well, they might have stumbled upon an amazing, first of all, that competition has to be cool. Someone has to be coordinating a little because you're picking up on story arcs and all that stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Are you looking up who it is?
Yeah, it was Danny Zucker.
Oh, okay. That's not who I was thinking of. What are we doing? Modern Family. No, it's created by 2 guys, though, I thought. Yeah, Lloyd. Christopher Lloyd and Steve Levitan.
Neither of which is gay, by the way, so that show would never happen today. And Eric Stone Street, who plays the homosexual, not in fact a same-sex lover.
Oh, that's what you're calling him? And Levitan, yeah, and Lloyd from Frasier.
Christopher Lloyd? Stephen Lloyd.
Well, there's 2. They're brothers.
Get out of here.
Yeah, no, they are. Stephen Lloyd came and helped me on my pilot. Super funny guy, and he was a writer over there. But Christopher was the creator with Levitan.
Wow.
That show, I told you, I was writing a pilot, and my girls found that show, and I watched that pilot, and that's something you shouldn't do. Like, I just was like, I'm throwing mine out. Like, it's so unbelievably good.
Yeah.
You just can't do that to yourself. Like, I don't know the comparison if you're
right.
competing.
I auditioned for the role of the lead guy, the young guy. What's his name? Burrell?
Yeah. Oh, wait, Ty Burrell?
Yeah, Ty Burrell. I auditioned for that part. I got called back twice. Read for the producers. Bummed out that I didn't get it. Saw the pilot, and I went, holy shit, was I out of my league. That guy took that role and he added 8 fucking layers to it. He's unbelievable.
He is phenomenal. So we were launching Lopez Tonight, George Lopez's late night show, and you do test shows that you record. You have to go through the drill as if they aired that night. And then you take them so seriously because they actually will become maybe a backup in case the satellite goes down one night or something, especially early on when you don't have backups. And so he was a nobody, but all the writers had seen that pilot, and word spread so fast on him. He's amazing.
Yeah.
Did you ever see his video where he played the sports rant writer?
No.
Oh, it's on Funny or Die, I think. So he's like, yeah, I wrote that one. And it's like, and then all of a sudden you see Tyson like, I'm going to fuck you, you bitch, and all that. He's like, I put that in, I put the bitch, I'm going to make you my bitch. Like, I thought that was good. He delivered it perfectly. Like,
that's great.
Oh, it's really, really funny.
Yeah. But let's get back to your birthday. What do you got planned? Did the girls give you anything for any presents? You got them this morning?
Nope. Sophie came back. We talked about that. Her surf coach took them to Hawaii. She then had a really bad stomach, like disruptive on both ends, the last day in Hawaii. And then luckily had an okay flight, but really hasn't been able to keep anything down. And she got back. And then her doctor's like, yeah, have you tested for COVID? Which I didn't even think about. Anyway, she's still waiting on one test. They're at Liz's, my ex. And, but no, would see him tomorrow. One thing I thought of was one of these drive-ins in L.A., it might be the one at the Greek, over by Griffith Park, the drive-in theater is playing Raising Arizona.
Oh, no shit.
Which would be very much my type of birthday.
Tonight?
No, it would be tomorrow. Oh, right. Today's Sunday. We're pretending it's Sunday. Yes, tonight.
I'll go.
All right, let's look into it. Otherwise, did you see
my favorite movie of all time?
It's amazing. Did you see Kong versus Godzilla or whatever? Godzilla versus Kong?
Why? What am I, 9? What do I live in, Ohio?
Well, no, you're a fan of Asian hate, and I just thought you saw Kong.
Come on.
You saw Kong just punch Godzilla out, and you're like, I'm in.
Yeah.
No, you go to a drive-in. I don't know. Maybe you take 1.5 edibles, and you really enjoy these monsters fighting with a city at their feet.
Speaking of edibles, can we talk about this fucking shit music you've been listening to lately?
Dude, I'm on a fucking roll.
You get on our group text. We have a couple group texts that we're on, and you start promoting this band. And I listened to it, and I think I described it as
your
what you would
description.
hear.
Can I read it?
Yeah.
You're not. I'm going to put this in the not supportive category. First of all, let's talk about the band. They're amazing. There's no lyrics.
How do you even pronounce the name?
I don't really like labels, so I like to prefer. All right, it's called Khruangbin. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it.
Khruangbin. Okay.
And keep in mind, I'm sure there's some listeners out there like, you fucking morons. They've been around for 3 years, so I'm a little late to it, I think. By the way, when you see it, you're like, okay, they're from Finland, right?
Yeah.
Right. They're from Houston.
Yeah.
And Houston has this big. The guy talks about it. They found each other, the bassist and guitarist, because he's into very international guitar.
Yeah, he was really into Nusrat Ali Fateh, who's that Pakistani guitar player who's amazing.
Look at you go.
No, I was really into him when I was in college.
Oh, look at you. He's really into this guitarist from the Congo. He's if that's what you call it these days. Another guitarist from somewhere else in Africa, and then Indonesia. So that's his thing. He's making these, it's just very mood music. And then, let me read your review though. Okay. I write a nice thing. Someone recently turned me on to these guys. Mesmerizing if you're baked, but also great background music for anything. And then let's find your review of it. You're like, lot to tackle here. Khruangbin is pretentious from the name to the matching Bjork hairdos to the music you would hear at a Malibu trans Pilates class. Hard pass. And then I mentioned
I got angry that you made me listen to it.
And then I said I was extremely late to Rufus Du Sol, and you're like, you at least you're like, seems like good music to have sex to. And that Gibbons, the guy who gives out all the passes to the vaccines and head of minorities, you said Gibbons might have to swap out his AC/DC Back in Black sex track. You know what?
Matt?
You know how also I found a lot of this? Pink Floyd has a ton of like mood, ethereal music, much of it without lyrics.
Right.
And I was going down that wormhole, and then you find like-minded music.
It just is. It's
but edibles are a big part of it.
It's super pretentious, and the girl playing bass, her bass lines are so rudimentary and boring.
Oh, look at McCartney over here. Okay. How do you know what a rudimentary bass line is?
I play bass, asshole. I played in a band.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I played in a band in 7th, 8th, and 9th grade.
Well, it's a bass drum band. There's only 3 instruments, 3 people. And the guitarist is like, he comes in and is kind of like the lyrics a little bit, but it's very much on the top. Or I don't know how to talk music, but he said it's not on the one. So take that for what it's worth.
Yeah, okay.
It's great, though. I think they're amazing.
All right, well, check it out, people, and let us know. fitzdogradio@gmail.com. Let us know what you think of that band. Does it make you angry?
Okay, but wait, set the mood. It's set and setting, man. You got to be like, don't go to it so it can be the sole focus of your entertainment. That's not the idea.
If I have to take drugs to enjoy music, I'll listen to fucking Terrapin Station.
So now you're hitting them. I think the same thing about Grateful Dead. Like, I like it whether I'm high or not.
No, I love the Dead. I'm just taking an easy shot at them. As long as we're talking about getting angry at your texts,
okay.
You also wrote, and this is coming from a guy who has repeatedly mocked me for using puns.
Oh, all right.
And I'm not a pun fan. I don't lean on puns, but when it's sitting there and there's a good one, I'll fucking take it. And
Well,
you write,
that's the thing. Good one or not? Go ahead.
so we were discussing somebody had used mustard as a what was the context of this?
Oh my God, that great historian woman in Maine. She wrote about the last
Cox
day,
Richardson.
the last day of the Civil War, and how Grant had been up all night with a migraine, and then he got up because he heard Lee wanted to meet him, which would become the surrender. Yeah, and he had an incredible migraine.
So he rubbed mustard leaves all over himself because apparently that was a cure-all.
I don't know if it was mustard leaves, but then anyway, and I did Google it, which is what you're about to say, to look up is Grant out of his mind, because he's a world-class drunk also, but like mustard seeds though do have an effect.
I'd like you now, Mike Gibbons, to read your response to that.
What was it, an email?
I'll tell you what you wrote.
Oh,
I looked it up. It's a thing, but you won't find it on the Mayo Clinic website because they are Big Mayo, not Big Mustard. And I had chills came across me as I thought about you publicly mocking me for using a pun, and you dragged that piece of shit out.
No, it's meta, dude. Hey, bro, back off. That's a meta pun. It's so fucking bad. It's hysterical.
But that's what puns are. They're meta.
No, that's not true. People try to be all coy and fucking sly and smart with them.
Yeah.
The Mayo Clinic, man, they're not going to give any cred to mustard. That one never not going to get me.
You're really relishing in this. I mean, it's like, all right.
It's like the Cleveland Clinic, right? They're not going to talk about, now you got to find a disease with another city's name in it.
Hold on. Chris Denman, our right-wing producer, is now writing, I could never catch up. So now, is there a third grade class that we can get on the Google Doc?
He's forcing that catch-up in there. I don't know. I bet he really relished that as he wrote it.
I just said that, Mike.
You said that?
I literally, speaking of which, all right, I'm going to read a letter. We don't normally do the letters this early, but this is somebody addressing exactly that. Where is
when
it?
did we first
Okay.
When did we first meet?
When it
By the way, I was going to pitch you. We just go into it straight face this week again.
How did we
It's
meet?
like Joanne.
So we got shit on because we did the same letter 2 weeks in a row. People
Dude,
asked,
a guy did a split screen of your responses. It was amazing.
a guy, go online, go on probably my Instagram account. No, I don't know where he left it.
TikTok.
But I not only read the same letter, I did it with the same intonations at the same tempo, and we had almost the same answer to how did we meet.
We did, right. Well, because we're telling the truth.
How did neither one of us remember that we had done it the week before?
And the story included us not remembering that when we had met. Well, I give you an out because you do 3 podcasts. I have trouble keeping this one straight. So I have no idea. And obviously the reason your podcasts are good is because you take turns and you also divulge really personal things like all the time. So yeah, I can't remember. You get an out. I have no excuse.
Well, this is a guy who wrote in, which he was so dead on. Scott, my pet name for Mike is Gib Van Winkle. He fucking wakes up 10 times during every show.
Hey, that's a lot.
Wait, what? I wasn't listening. And 25 other variations of the above. As a listener, it's kind of fun. You never know when Mike is going to pounce on a topic. Hold on a minute. This fucking guy, or lay so far back in the cut that he is essentially walking in from the kitchen chomping on a carrot. Who's a lesbian?
I like this guy.
This guy's great.
Yeah, he's a listener, boy.
Yeah.
All right. Good review. I like that. Yeah, no, I occasionally listen. I'm not great at listening to podcasts, and this one's no exception.
Gib Van Winkle. That may come up again. That may haunt you a little bit.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, yeah. You know what else is pretty good? And I'm saying this from my heart. It's time to get your lawn in shape. The spring is here. And I know, like, my lawn has got, it's sparse like my head. Look at the top of my head. Little pieces growing up. Brown spots.
Green.
Little green. So right now, Sunday Lawn Care is an easy way for you to find out exactly the chemicals that you need to treat your lawn and make it everything that it can be. Show off to your neighbors. Let your grass be the one that's greener that everybody's looking at. So all you have to do is get Sunday.com, put in my home, and they have a lawn analysis tool. You put in where you live. They know what the soil's like in your area. They have an aerial snapshot of your house. They can tell you if your wife is cheating on you.
They have cameras everywhere. They tell you, like, you're not wiping right.
They've got ingredients like, ready for this, seaweed, iron, and molasses. So it's all safe for your pets.
No mustard, huh?
No mustard, Mike. Really works. So let Sunday take the guesswork out of growing a greener, more beautiful lawn this spring. Visit getsunday.com/papers to get $20 off your custom lawn plan at checkout. That's $20 off your custom plan at getsunday.com/papers.
Great gift.
Support the sponsors. Support your lawn.
Don't we have, like, Father's Day coming up and stuff?
That would be such a great gift for
That's
Father's
sometime
Day.
in spring. Yeah. Well, I'm doing it for my mom.
Well, no, yeah, you're doing it for your mom's lawn, and literally you can spend your whole day out there. This takes 15 minutes, and you're all set.
Pre-mixed. You don't have to be some chemist to get it going.
Shout out to our song this week, Kevin O'Brien, who also goes by Kevin Keane. I think that's his stage name. He's from Ireland, and he did a very fucking cool song. I loved it.
Is it kind of like Crondon or whatever band I'm into?
Yes, it was just like that.
Music cool.
Music to put on black clothes and kill yourself to.
That's what. Remember, we play. This is a little name drop, but we play volleyball all the time with Galifianakis. Anyway, Galifianakis tries very hard with this very alternative music and stuff. But I remember, like, we're listening to it was the most depressing thing. I'm like, what is this mix called? Last Bath. And then we all riffed on suicide titles for his. It was so funny. Sharpened razor. Like, what is this? Oh, my God. It was terrible.
Also, our logo, which was really cool, is... Wait, who did this logo? Let me find out.
Yeah, give him credit.
The logo was
when you post a logo, post their name.
Michael Solomon. It's the Wheel of Fortune one.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, always looking for new ones. Send in your ideas for logos or songs, fitzdogradio@gmail.com.
They're
corrections.
funny.
2 weeks running, we had no corrections whatsoever. And then this week, an onslaught. I don't know what happened to us.
All right. Well, I mean, pent up demand.
Shane says Codependent No More was written by Melody Beattie, not Ann Beattie. Okay.
Oh.
Jim O'Brien said, Aaron and I, not me and Aaron. Your dad didn't plagiarize your way into Boston University for nothing.
Yeah, that one's correct. Those can be tricky, A lot of people prefer to put the I, but when it's at the end of a sentence, because they think it sounds correct, but it's really the object, not the subject.
Well, if it's the object, which means it's ending with Aaron and me, it's always like you're supposed to take out the end. And however it would be like, it would be, he was walking down the street with me, not with I.
Yeah. I mean, you could be a real douche about it because some of them sound better incorrect. Like, it's me. You know what I mean? Technically, it's I.
No, it's not, because it's the object. It's me.
No, it's after I'm going to try to remember this. I think it's after, is it an auxiliary verb? I probably got that wrong. But is, was, and all that, it's I. Like, that's why this is she. That's why you do it that way, after is.
Really?
Yeah. So I love going around correcting all the kids and all the slang when they're like, it me. I'm like, it I. It-I. Do you mean it-I? I think you mean it-I.
I went to one of the worst.
It-I.
I went to one of the worst public schools in New York up until 8th grade.
Yeah.
And then my parents sent me to an extremely challenging private school, one of the best private schools in the country.
It is.
And I had to start taking French, where they talked about pluperfect and past participle and tenses that, like, I literally barely knew future and past. And I didn't know there was like four other tenses in English. And now I'm having to learn different tenses in another language at the same time.
Yeah.
So I got thrown out of French class about just past the halfway point, where the teacher crunched the numbers and he said it's numerically impossible for you to pass at this point. And so he threw me out of class. And so I just had that period free. And so the classroom was in a basement classroom with windows up high. Yeah. And I would walk past the window and just think, could you do this today? And I would fucking moon the window. And then one day I
don't think you could do that then. Go ahead. Imagine doing this today.
My name was Gregoire, which is spelled Gregoire. And I used to write. I used to sign everything Gregoire with a W-A at the end, which used to make spittle catch on his lip while he screamed at me. And so I dove during the spring. I jumped through the window into the classroom with a cape on and a T-shirt that said Super Gregoire on it, and I got suspended.
For that team spirit, for that school spirit.
Right. Come on.
It sounds like the biggest nerd move ever.
Well.
Yeah.
When in Rome.
I guess.
It was a nerdy school.
When in Rome. It is a romance language.
Jordan Fine says, hey, Greg, you called Blondie an Adonis, but Adonis only works for attractive men. So unless she's hiding a little something, you'd be incorrect.
Yeah. I'm not fully on board Jordan's. I've heard many things be called handsome.
Blondie
not
could be
only
a handsome woman.
Yes.
Yep.
So, I mean, he is right about Adonis being a man. Well, we don't know how Adonis identified anymore.
Would I have sex with Blondie if she had a penis, but I was animated? Does it cut me some slack?
Have you found that? Well, you went out looking for same-sex sex. Is that what you call it? When you were in college. But, like, remember, I don't know if you were this way, but I remember the scariest stories ever when you were a male teenager, I'll speak for myself, were the prison rape stories. Like, that's why you literally were scared straight, because that's what prison was. And I remember you would hear stories and dudes, this is such a small-minded thing I'm describing, where you would be like, I'd kill myself. I'd kill myself first night in prison if I knew I was getting raped the next day. It's like, really? And as you get older, you're like, really? Like, so wait, you have to suck on some guy's penis or kill yourself? And it would be like 10 out of 10, kill myself. Yeah. And now the same 10 guys would be like, yeah, obviously I would, kiss the guy's penis.
Yeah.
Like, that's not that. That's one of the few things in life that is a no-brainer that switches to the opposite no-brainer. There's not many things in life like that.
Yeah, I think you change your standards when you go into a prison. I think you got to just, which is an amazing thing about the human condition, is like, even in the smallest degree in the past year, how I've changed my life in terms of like, not going out to eat, not buying as many things, being happy to just be home, like how limited my life has become. But I would say I still have the possibility of being just as, and the fact that I'm sucking dicks on the side, like, has nothing to do with it.
No, of course not.
It's a pandemic.
Right. No, and all bets are off. But, some of this behavior will stay, as you're saying, I think.
My life is simplified in a really nice way.
But I also think what was going on there was the group kind of I'm describing is either, virgins or definitely has not had that much sex. So you're also vaulting this, sexual experience to like, and, by time you're, over 30 or even later, you're just like, it's a human body rubbing parts. Like, what's the What's the big deal? What's so threatening here?
I mean, as long as the guy was properly showered, which I don't think during a violent sexual encounter, you can ask about hygiene. You got to just go with wherever he's at.
And to be clear, I am not, minimizing rape. In a way, the conversation was more about that it was homosexual sex.
Yes.
But of course, rape flavored it a little bit as it will. But no, it really was the. I guess by definition it was rape because you were willing to kill yourself instead of have that sex. So clearly it wasn't consensual. But really it was the idea of gay sex, in prison versus killing yourself.
There's this, Khalil Gibran, the writer.
Of course, Lebanese.
So he wrote this, I read a bunch of his
You're
short
going to get
stories.
corrections on his name, I think. Khalil?
Is it Khalil?
Gibran? I
Gibran?
don't know. Jabronsky.
He had this story about these nuns that lived in the desert in a seminary, monastery.
Sounds hot already.
Convents. They live in a convent. And so some soldiers showed up, and they were going to rape all the nuns. And so the head nun said, "Here, let me give you as a gift, because you're a brave warrior, this
pussy.
This vest. You wear this vest, and it protects you from ever getting killed. A sword cannot penetrate it." And he said, "I don't believe that works." And she goes, "Look, I'll put it on. Now take your sword and stab me with it, and you'll see." And he stabbed it and went through the vest, and it killed her.
Did Khalil make this up? That's an amazing story.
Yeah, he made it up.
I wonder if he did. That's pretty creative.
Yeah.
Huh. That's what she remembers? Because really it was a condom that broke, I think. But
Is this like your Silence of the Lambs
Yeah, this is her
thing?
This is her Freudian screen memory, which blocks the painful truth
Jesus.
of having sex with a warrior.
Michael Zakara says, "I don't know if this is a correction, but John Lennon was a pretty noteworthy assassination during both of your lives." I would say that's not an assassination, because I looked up the definition, and it said assassination is the murder of a prominent person or political figure by a surprise attack, usually for payment or political reasons. So I don't believe there was a political reason. I think that was the guy Sirhan. Was that the guy who killed him?
Chapman, moron.
Oh, right. Mark David Chapman.
Don't mix up your assassins.
That would be a good round in a game show, is putting assassins together. All right, I'll give you the assassination. You give me the assassin.
Was Chapman Jewish?
Why does it have to be anti-Semitic?
Oh, God, I'm not being anti-Semitic at all. I was going to go, like, Jews don't score very high in the, assassin category. I shouldn't say that.
Ask Jesus Christ about that.
God, ask Sadat. Wasn't Sadat assassinated?
Mm-hmm.
God, I'm forgetting everything. But other than the Mideast, I'm talking about in America.
All right, Robert Kennedy, who killed him?
Wasn't that Sirhan?
I think it was.
Yeah.
Martin Luther King.
Yeah, I'm forgetting. Went to jail. They caught him. God, I'm a little slow today. I shouldn't. Obviously, we should all know that. Happened on April 4th, Memphis. I know a lot about it. Okay, what now?
Who shot?
By the way, who
Reagan?
was standing next to MLK when he got shot?
Jesse Jackson.
You're right.
Who shot Ronald Reagan?
I forget.
Was it Hinckley?
I think it was Hinckley. No, was it? All right. Well, boy, we're really opening ourselves up.
See, it's a good game.
Corrections or clarifications.
Chris is looking these up. He wrote yes. Thanks, Chris. I just gave him 4 fucking options. Yeah, Hinckley is yes.
Why doesn't Chris just turn around and look at all the pictures on his wall?
All the Democrats with X's over their heads. Let us know who's next.
And then who? She had a fun name. Who shot Gerald Ford?
Oh, wasn't that Squeaky Fromm?
No, that's a Manson gal. Ferguson? No, it was some. But was
Patty
she?
Hearst?
No. Sarah Jane Moore? Is that that's what he just
Sarah Jane
typed?
Moore. Never heard that name before.
All right.
And Chris, will you double check Robert Kennedy with Sirhan Sirhan?
But
imagine if he got knighted.
Oh, the Sirhan Sirhan?
Yes.
Or what if he transitioned? It would be ladies, Sirhan, sir. So,
what if he asked you to do something and you were like, "Sure, Sirhan Sirhan."
Yeah. What's your surname? I just gave you my surname. That's all I have is a surname. See?
What if he
Come
was
on,
a really
this is
good
like
shot?
the Mayo Clinic.
What if he was a really good shot and they called him Sirhan Sirhan Sirhan?
Oh no.
Yeah, Sirhan Sirhan is correct. James Earl Ray.
Yes, of course.
Is that who killed
Such
Martin
a
Luther King?
Southern-sounding name.
It's always three names, isn't it?
Well,
Always
that's
three
the old.
names.
That's the old thing they like
John
to
Wilkes
say.
Booth.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard the comparison between Lincoln's assassination and Kennedy's assassination?
Yeah,
The
like
coincidences?
it was like the Ford Theater.
One of
and-
them.
Go ahead.
Lincoln. Similarity.
He was Kennedy was in a Lincoln, right, when he got shot.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's a good one.
I think.
There's also. All right, here we go.
Oh, Greg's neighbor. All right, this is
All
live.
right, Lincoln and Kennedy both have 7 letters. Both presidents were elected to Congress in 46 and later to the presidency in 60.
Okay.
Both lost a son while living in the White House. Both were shot in the presence of their wives.
Both wives were fucking full-blown crazy. Yeah, I said it.
Both their assassins were born in 39 and known by their 3 names composed of 15 letters. Both ran from Ford's Theater. Booth ran from Ford's Theater and was caught in a warehouse. Oswald ran from the Delaney Plaza warehouse and was caught in a theater.
That's true. They painted that seat that they found him in.
Both presidents were runners-up for their party's nomination for vice president in 56. Both successors were Southern Democrats surnamed Johnson. Both were born in 08 and their names contained 6 letters. The assassins were both Southerners. Well, there you go. Both were particularly concerned with civil rights and made their views strongly known in 63. Both presidents were shot in the head on a Friday and died at a nearby location.
Wow.
Lincoln was shot at Ford's Theater. Kennedy was shot in a Ford car, a
Oh.
Lincoln limousine.
Oh, all right. There you go.
So it's a double hit. Lincoln had a secretary named Kennedy who told him not to go to Ford's Theater. Kennedy had a secretary named Lincoln
And he just did her.
whose husband's nickname was Abe, and she warned him not to go to Dallas.
Really? I don't
Both-
know about that.
Both Oswald and Booth were assassinated before they could put on trial.
Yeah.
Crazy, huh?
That is a lot of coincidences right there. Oh, man. There was a slow news week. I got to give you credit that I know we're not even done with corrections, but maybe we shouldn't even do news. I kind of like this flow. Are we done?
Yeah, let's do a family circus and then go get some brunch.
Oh, it's worth it. All right, what's this next one? You wanted me to follow up on the March Madness. I have the stats.
Yeah, what do you got? We're jumping all over the place. We're in sports.
No, we're in letters. The next guy was going to wrote a letter about
Oh, okay, good. Why don't you read that? We got a letter about Mike shorted every team during March Madness with his. Who'd you bet against?
every team. I bet against every team. Even
No, but I mean, who was your bet with?
Oh, Blake, a friend of mine, Blake in Kansas. So, but even when two teams are playing, I'm technically betting against both of them, which I like that bet. So this.
By the way, speaking of you selling everything short, I talked to my broker yesterday. He said for the next 2 to 3 years, there is going to be a run-up in the stock market, fueled partly by inflation. He said the price of your house is going to go way up, stocks are going to go way up, bonds are going to tank, and cash is going to lose about 30% of its value. So if you got money sitting in an account waiting, put it in some fucking stocks. Just get in an index fund, go to Vanguard, pick a domestic blue chip stock, and just leave it there for 2 years.
Also called Vanguard. Listen, I clearly don't know what I'm talking about in economics, but
you're always wrong.
Not always, but hold on. That's the exact opposite rationale. If inflation, is that what you're talking about? Inflation?
Inflation makes everything go up in
Everyone
value.
is saying inflation is the only thing that can kill the stock market.
Well, in some ways, yes.
You'll take all your profits from the last 10 goddamn years and then put it in a 3% thing because it's going to be inflated to that.
A 3% thing? Is that
a money market, whatever it is, inflation, like all of a sudden the interest rates go up.
No, but they're not going to go up because the government said they're going to keep interest rates down. So there's been so much money poured into American accounts now. That money's going to get spent. Plus, he said there's been a pent-up. People haven't traveled. They haven't bought things. Now they got money, and that money's going to fly into the economy as well as well-paying jobs.
Your guy's a fucking idiot.
Hey,
everyone's going to travel to Brazil.
Couple specific well, when we get to business, I'll go through the.
Let's go to Michigan.
Picks. All right.
All right. Anyway, the trends in the tournament. Listen to this, man. The favorites were 31-30 against the spread.
Wow, that's insane.
And then the money line, the favorites were 39-19 outright. I kind of almost don't know what that means. With one pick'em, blah, blah, blah. The total over-under, ta-da, 36 games went under, while 25 games went over. And there was one push. There you go.
So how much money did you win?
I think, well, he wanted to go double or nothing on the finals. Oh, was I? I was with you during the finals.
Right.
So, okay, let's say the over-under was, I think it was let's say it was 149, all right? At one point, like basically in the last quarter of the game, like halfway through the second half, it was trending 20 points over. I had truly given up on it.
You had thrown in the towel. You had
I wasn't even watching
the
it
game
anymore. Yeah. And then just a complete slowdown in scoring, and I won the under in that game by 3 points or something.
Right, by 3 points, and you were lucky because the game was so obviously going to be lost that they didn't start fouling, which would have gone over.
And you don't know where that is or like the coach's view on it. Also, they put the scrubs in, and some of these scrubs are going to chuck threes. That happened way too many times during this tournament. Anyway, so that was someone wrote that in, wrote those stats into us. So there you go.
Oh, hey, guess what? A couple weeks I'm going to Philadelphia to do stand-up comedy.
Hey, that's a gamble.
The 22nd through the 24th, I'll be at the Helium Comedy Club in Philly. It is my second favorite club in the country. It's a fucking great club. Dust off your racist humor. Philly eats that shit up. They do. They do. They're the worst. My opening line is always, it's like Ireland fucked Italy and Philly came out. Yeah. And then Kansas City the following week, the 29th through May 1st, I will be in Kansas City at the... All tickets available at fitzdog.com. Let's get to the front page, Mike. Extra! Extra! Read all about it! Extra! Oh, already? Well, I think I lost. Oh, now I'm in Chrome. Oh, you know what was so weird, man? I just went Chrome accidentally open, and there was a Sunday Papers in there with a crazy news story, and it turns out it was from September. All right, I'm back. Good aside. What are we doing? New Zealand. I don't know. I put that story in there. Yeah, there's nothing there. Basically, though, just so people know, interesting.
I think this should be done in America too. It's a 1-year experiment on a law that allows drug users to test for free and without penalty the chemicals in the drugs they have.
I don't understand that, though. What does that mean?
Well, basically, it's like, all these drugs that are just killing people because fentanyl's in them. You can bring it in there. The testers will not call the police, and the drug users will not be thrown in jail.
Oh, I see.
And it's to tackle the endemic drug problem.
That's a great idea.
They took the idea from the Netherlands.
Yeah.
But I'm sure it's not going to help the drug users' paranoia, though, when you're like, you sure I can bring this in here and not get busted?
Yeah.
Also, if it has fentanyl, do they tell you and give it back to you?
Good point. Good point. Because you can still take fentanyl. You just have to take less.
If you're aware of it, you'd be like, please give it back. So the biggest thing that was tested was, if I'm recalling, I forgot to write it down, but MDMA. So ecstasy was the number one thing found, which means it's the number one drug that was brought in also. But there was dangerous mixes, and you know what they found most were mixed with down there was bath salts.
No shit. Really?
Yeah.
Damn.
So if you want some good drugs, I'd go to New Zealand. They have them.
Here's a story about Elmo. You know that cute little thing from Sesame Street? That cute little guy?
I have to admit, he turns me on, and I might have done some. Anyway, read the story.
A Michigan home inspector has been charged with criminal charges after he allegedly masturbated with an Elmo doll while on the job in a child's bedroom.
I'm not alone.
Kevin
Okay.
Wayne Van Leuven, there we go, 3 names, 59, was arraigned on charges of aggravated indecent exposure and malicious destruction of property under $200. Wait a minute, so if you jerk on things that are worth over $200, it's a felony?
Yeah, also, couldn't it have been loving destruction, not malicious?
And also, are we assuming Elmo can see and feel? Indecent exposure to a stuffed animal?
Who exactly is the victim? You know what? Maybe it was the guy's hand who was still in Elmo.
Ah, yes.
That could have been it, with all
And
the
by the
screams
way,
for help.
If you're gonna jerk off to a Sesame Street character, jerk off on top of the Grouch, because he's already filthy. Nobody's even gonna notice if there's some cum
Cookie
stains
Monster
on him.
will gobble that shit up, right?
Van Leuven, hired by homeowners to inspect a home, was allowed into the house with the buyer's real estate agent by the owners. While she was out, one of the owners received a webcam alert that movement had been detected in the nursery. That's when she saw Van Leuven, should call him Van Leuven, masturbating.
Yeah, I'd say.
Van Leuven picked up the Elmo from the floor and appeared to pleasure himself with the doll. It should be fondle me, Elmo, not tickle me, Elmo.
Violate me, Elmo. All right. I mean, isn't the lead story here a potential pedophile?
Because he's in a children's room?
I don't know. You go in a nursery, and all of a sudden there's an erection so bad. I don't know how this works, I imagine, and then you have to satisfy yourself with a children's doll.
Yeah. Do you think he put his hand in the Elmo doll and used it to pleasure himself, or did he come on Elmo?
I'm assuming that was the malicious destruction was the finishing on Elmo, I guess.
And by the way, he put him back on the shelf when he was done.
You don't
At
know
least
that,
take it with you. Take it with you.
Yeah. It's like panties, right? You gotta, they're yours now,
Yes.
I think,
Yeah, you claim them.
All right. Weird story.
Here's one about people who pray.
Ooh, transition. We don't need them.
The Supreme Court late Friday night lifted California's restrictions on religious gatherings in private homes, saying they could not be enforced to bar prayer meetings, Bible study classes, and the like. The court's brief, unsigned order followed earlier ones striking down limits on attendance as houses of worship meant to combat the coronavirus. look, are you going to stop them from praying? You can't stop them from fucking little kids. Are you going to stop them from praying?
All of a sudden, this is the one they take seriously.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Right. I know this was a big thing. Well, all of it is, right? I mean, so many places want prayer in school still.
Yeah, but this is like, once again, these are people that are purported to be moral and charitable and helping society, but it's very simple. Gatherings promote the spread of coronavirus, and it's like, do they feel, and I think they do. I think a lot of Christians feel like if they're praying and they're together, either they're not going to get it, or if they do get it, it was God's will and they're going to heaven. I got to think, otherwise, why the fuck are they doing it? Can't you pray on your own?
It's a perfect storm of anti-science. You can't get more anti-science than a religious gathering during a pandemic.
Right.
Truly. You
Right.
can't.
Yep.
It's like, no. We know scientists are saying we might catch the disease, but there's a guy in the sky, and we just can't ignore him.
Yeah. Right.
Idiots.
Yeah.
That's my religious toleration. You can do it. My grandmother 100% believed she was going to see my grandfather, which, by the way, I never really understood because he was a lunatic. But what am I going to take that away from her? Like, that's such a nice thought.
No, it's like, I forget who was doing a bit about this, about believing in God. Oh, Louis C.K. does a bit about, it's like, what's wrong with people being religious? Because, you know what? If you're an atheist and you die, and he kind of acts out an atheist looking at God and going like, oh, yeah, so I guess I'll just head over there. And he's like, but if you do pray, you go to heaven. And you know what? If you prayed your whole life, and in that second that after you die, you realize there's no heaven, you just go like, oh, well,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be in the dumpster. What's the difference? So it's a pretty good bet to just pray.
We're going to lose. But according to Catholics, at least I can speak from that, God is such a dick. I'm not saying that.
Right.
But everything you've told me about this guy, I mean, and all the cliche, Moses, kill your son, and even fucking just letting his son be absolutely eviscerated. But
I don't think that was Moses. I think that was Abraham.
Oh, Abraham's with the son. Sorry, you're right. God said to Abraham, kill me a son. Abraham said, what? You must be putting me on. That's a Dylan lyric. To God, you must be putting me on. All right, so whatchamacallit? But more than that, it's like that hell, which my teachers in Catholic school were really careful to define as picture your worst experience ever and it lasting forever. Like eternity in the worst human pain.
You know how you guys don't want to go to jail? It's like going to jail.
Worse than you can even imagine. Like, okay, so I guess I don't even have to try. And so, and this is from a guy that forgives everybody. But
yeah,
you have to ask him. Like, what a dick. How about just forgive me?
Yeah.
You know I'm flawed. You fucking made me, you asshole. And you made me flawed. So now the flawed guy, I have to ask you to forgive me?
Yeah.
Whatever. This is so everybody.
Well, no, and it's also like he's an insecure God who says the first commandment, thou shalt have no other gods before me. Why? What's this monogamous relationship? You're God. Why does as a little speck of dust on this planet, why does it matter that you're the first God to me?
That sounds like a share, like what she has in her contract when she books things. That's in her rider.
Right. Favored nation.
I need green and M&Ms, and I also, none of you can worship anyone but me.
All right,
religion.
Let's go local, Mike.
Oh.
Pilot project in California town is paying homeless residents to tidy up their living areas.
I read about this.
What?
I read about this.
The idea stemmed from Elk Grove, 15 miles from Sacramento. The number one complaint surrounding homelessness was the amount of trash. Quote, our public works staff were previously doing cleanups out at encampment sites and spending a lot of time and money doing it. We distribute trash bags, go out every 2 weeks to pick up the trash, and if they have it bagged, they are eligible for up to $20 in gift cards to a grocery store. They can use the gift cards on anything but cigarettes and alcohol.
And we encourage them to buy more trash bags.
Yeah, right.
Okay, what do you think of this? People are going to hate it.
Well, it's one more step towards, endorsing people living in tents on the streets, and as opposed to, but it's like what you were talking about in Australia with the, checking the drugs to see if they're safe. It's
New Zealand,
it's like sometimes you just have to acknowledge that there's a social ill and that you're going to work on it in other ways. But in the meantime, let's do some pragmatic solutions. And, them picking up their own shit off the ground, that's like a huge thing. There's a lot of homeless people shitting on the street.
It's kind of like the clean, needle projects. Or
Right.
the condom projects at schools. Boy, was that controversial.
Right.
But now, did you just allude to feces?
It doesn't mention that in the article, but I think that's one of the. There's an app. There's an app in San Francisco where people list where there's human feces on the sidewalk, so you don't step in it.
Oh, I thought it was like a tourist app where you go see it. Because you're in there from Oklahoma. You haven't seen stuff like that.
Right. A fecal selfie.
Yeah, you do a tour, self-guided tour. Boy, I don't know. Well, listen, I pay my fucking lazy kids to clean their room. I gave up.
Yeah.
I'll literally go live. I'll give you $10. Just that closet, the floor, and you can't just throw it all in your laundry bag like you always do. They're clean, blah, blah, blah. So I pay them to clean.
And basically, kids are homeless people. Without you, they're homeless people. You're lodging them.
Totally. And the feces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of gift cards, I want to thank you for my birthday was last week, and you gave me a very nice card, which I didn't understand the joke.
You didn't understand it?
It was a picture of a butterfly on the outside of the card, and then the message was, you're turning from a butterfly into a caterpillar.
You magical creature. Yes, you're blossoming backwards into a caterpillar. You're doing the opposite of everybody's evolving.
I thought it was a shot at my neck because my neck looks like a worm.
Wow, that's like when you have a hammer and everything looks like a nail. I don't know what's going on there.
But you gave me a gift card also, $50 gift card, which I thought was very generous.
You are welcome.
To Borders Bookstore.
Yep.
So
which is also affiliated with Walden Books. They're giant.
Really?
Book place, yes.
And do you know just offhand where the locations are? Because I was going to head off today and pick up this John Irving book I've had my eye on.
They were everywhere. I haven't checked in a while, so I wouldn't be the best source. But, they're national. Maybe even international.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it says Borders, so I would imagine, like, they're over the border. Is that what they're saying? I
think. And, Walden, phew, I think they're in Europe.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again. It was very nice of you.
You got it. Listen, it's only $50, so don't make too big a deal of it.
Speaking of big deals, a Texas man's become the first person to run from Disneyland in California to Disney World in Florida. What a jolly guy.
Texas man. We should have Fuck Florida.
Yeah,
we should go with
right.
Texas.
Yep, you're right.
All right.
Don Mucho, 59, said he began on February 1st, planned to complete it in 90 days, but the coronavirus led to some unexpected delays.
The only one who hits delays when there's no traffic during a virus.
Right. The delay was he stopped at fucking McDonald's because he was raising awareness for type 1 diabetes. So he got to Disney World and they rewarded him. They gave him a hot dog, an Oreo smoothie. Then he stood still online for 2 hours to sit in a teacup.
The guy running for type 2 diabetes fucking trounced him. Got there a week ahead of him.
Yeah, right. The guy running for AIDS is he's still in New Mexico.
What did that mean?
He's so tired.
Oh, is that
It's
what
tough
the
to run
AIDS
with
guy
AIDS.
is? All right.
Maybe it's Magic kept running with the AIDS. Did he have
By the
AIDS
way-
or HIV?
HIV. We have to be careful with what we
Right.
say. But Magic with the HIV, I mean, oh my God, how long is it now? But I think we brought this up on another podcast, but it was like at the Dodger game, like at the World Series, because he's, in ownership now of the Dodgers. He's up there with no mask on. And
I know.
And if you recall, this is October, November-ish, like it
Right.
was
The peak.
raging.
Yeah. So I wonder if he raised money. It says he raised awareness. I wonder if he raised money also. I always love the idea that I can't just go to my friends and go, hey, you know what I really care about? I really care about childhood leukemia. Let's all chip in and give those kids some money so they can get treatment. No, doesn't work. You got to go, hey, I'm going to dance for 3 days. If I do that, will you give money to these sick kids? Hey, I'm going to fucking, I'm going to walk to San Francisco. Would that be enough to convince you that we should give some money to AIDS?
I don't know. Did you really do it? Because I'm not going to pay you.
Yeah, right. I want video.
Right.
Unless you're in pain, I'm not feeling it.
Yeah. I'm with you.
What's our horoscope?
All the marathons. When I did the marathon, like everyone was like, however many dollars a mile and all that stuff.
But you finished it, twice, right?
I did, but I don't think I did any of that charity stuff. I don't think.
Well, hopefully it wasn't based on your speed.
Listen, let's be honest. I was raising awareness of myself. Hey, everybody. I ran 26.2 miles.
All right.
Horoscope. You ready? There it is. All right. This is Saturdays. That's all we have because we don't have a time machine. So we're both Aries. And horoscope.com, I think that's where I got this, it really wants us to change professions.
Yeah,
I mean,
every week.
It's almost all right. Your skills with computers and other forms of technology should be growing rapidly. I hope. We can barely record a Zoom. This will greatly increase your efficiency with these tools and your marketability should you be thinking of changing careers or simply be looking for a new position. This would be a good day to get your resume up to date so you can act when you learn of a job that seems right for you. So I think we're in jobs that are wrong for us, according to the stars.
Well, I've definitely increased my understanding of technology when it comes to looking for a new position. But that's porn. I don't know how that gets me another job.
There you go. Yeah. I don't know. All right.
What's your favorite porn position?
Usually on a park bench. Like, where do I watch it? I'm pro porn. Is that the position you're talking about?
Do you know?
Like, what do you mean? Wait, what do you mean? You mean my search word?
No, like what missionary, reverse cowgirl, doggy? What's the position that you enjoy watching in porn?
Oh, that I enjoy watching. I don't know. Last week we did too many anti-women stories. I mean, people trust where we're coming from and, telling stories about our daughters or whatever, but, and criticizing them. This one seems a little dirty, this episode so far, I have to say.
All right, then let's go to entertainment.
But to answer your question, it's hand-holding.
As long as there's a dick in her hand?
Gregory. Oh.
Amanda Gorman, you remember her from the inauguration. She made that beautiful...
A good segue. Go ahead, though. Oh, Jesus. If we edited the show, this is proof we don't. We would move this story further down.
All right. She became a household name after her powerful performance at Biden's inauguration. She's the poet laureate. Did you realize that?
Well, I think youth.
What?
I don't think she's the poet laureate, including adults.
It says the poet laureate?
I don't know if her metaphors are that tight yet. All right, but she went to New Roads, the school right here in Santa Monica.
That's right. And
Yeah.
she's been in high demand. She appeared on the Super Bowl magazine covers, talk shows. Michelle Obama interviewed her. But
even her school, New Roads, is a metaphor. Can't escape it, man. I need more coffee.
But even with all her newfound fame, Gorman is keeping a sharp hold on her values. In a new interview with Vogue, the 23-year-old estimated she's turned down $17 million in endorsements because they didn't speak to the kind of content she wanted to align with.
I bet she's doing the lawn care endorsement, though.
Well, no, that's actually a respectable one. This isn't one of the weeks we're talking about chewing down boner pills.
Yeah, come on now. Everyone's beautiful. All right.
I think that speaks to the kind of content I want to align with.
Yeah, 17.
I wonder, she didn't mention which companies approached her. But
Because I know she grew up, I think she grew up economically challenged here in Los Angeles, and New Roads, which I happen to know personally, prides itself. They were founded on why isn't there a private school in Los Angeles that's diverse and inclusive, and they were put on the map for that, and they rightfully brag. You know, they said an interesting thing. I don't think I said this on the podcast. They were talking about their diversity, right? But I think they're so bored of flexing their legitimate inclusion and diversity that they have at this school that they said another thing we're really proud about is we have 100 zip codes at this school.
damn.
And that really blew my mind because they're like, they didn't say it this bluntly, but their point was, if you're Latino, let's say in LA, right? The problem is whites. That's the problem everywhere, let's face it. So let's say it's Latinos. Well, you know what? Like 8 Latinos, 10 Latinos, whatever it is from Santa Monica are still they're all from Santa Monica, you know what I mean? And there's a likeness there versus an East LA Latino versus, anyway, 100 zip codes, geographical diversity, even within the same city. LA is arguably one of the largest cities on earth, probably top 5. Wow, I wonder. Do you think LA is in the top 5 cities in the world?
Top 3.
No.
I would say.
Mexico City's bigger, right?
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, less Mexicans, but I think Mexico City's bigger.
I think Tokyo is pretty big.
Well, there's also how sprawling LA is. There's very few cities that are that sprawling, but some.
Maybe our crack
anyway,
producer can look it up for us.
I thought that was an interesting point regarding diversity, and so she, I think,
is that where Martha works?
Where? Yes, it is. It's a great school.
I had dinner with her last night, and she was talking about. Well, I can't divulge what she said about the school, but it's a pretty amazing school.
It sure is.
And by the way, Chris has corrected us. This woman, Gorman, is the first ever National Youth Poet Laureate, the youngest inaugural poet in U.S. history. So I guess she is the Youth Poet Laureate.
It's the same as the adult poet laureate, except she uses the word "like" a lot more.
And turns down endorsement money.
Yeah, the adult one has been there, done that. They're taking every edible. I just read edible on the next. They're taking every endorsement offered.
Oh yeah, the thing is if you're a race car driver, you're getting fucking, gas companies putting their name on your hood for $1 million. The money's flowing in. When you're a poet and someone offers you money and you've been living in a fucking cold water flat in Queens for the last 25 years, you will endorse lawn care products.
Listen, here, I wonder if there's ever been even a poet laureate who wasn't a professor. I mean, that's which,
right.
By the way, it might also be a goal. Like it would be very, you're in that academic world, and also, you're teaching future poets and all that. And I'm not knocking it. I've told you I'm looking into teaching, right?
No, really?
Yeah.
There's no money
slowly.
in it.
What'd you say?
You won't make any money.
That's too bad because I want to get into teaching for the money. I got to rethink it.
You talk about college level or?
Yeah, college level teaching comedy writing.
Really?
I'll have you in there. You're gonna speak to this imaginary class I have.
Speak. I'm gonna be going up against you for that job. I'm gonna teach comedy writing.
Right.
First you get high, then you masturbate.
Well, if they listen to this, maybe can we lock this down to members only and don't let any of the academic world take a little peek under the hood here?
All right. All right. Also, in entertainment, we always talk about what we've watched in the last week. Did you watch the Tina Turner documentary?
I didn't yet. I wanted to watch a few Ike documentaries first because I just want it to be fair. It's kind of like Woody and Mia.
Yeah. Plus, if he finds out, he's dead.
Well, I know I read what I thought was the hysterical New York Post headline, and you shamed me last week.
Oh, right.
You said it was powerful.
It's very powerful. I've been on a big documentary kick lately. I watched another one called Time, which was about this woman, this incredible woman down in New Orleans who had a husband who they started their own store. The store was struggling. They're African-American.
I can't, by the way, I'm sure all the listeners do. I'm waiting for the first syllable, the clue, which ties in the word time. Let me guess. It was a deli, and they had a time machine in the basement. Go ahead.
So they were having a hard time, and
there it is.
There you go. And so he went out and he robbed a bank, and he got caught.
He did time.
He got sent to jail for 60 years. So meanwhile, they've got like 5 or 6 kids. And it's about this woman who manages to raise these kids. She moves to New Orleans because his prison is in Louisiana, visits him every week, keeps the faith, and fights to get him freed from this insanely long prison sentence. And I'm not going to tell you how it ends, but it's just about her strength. It's a really powerful documentary. Highly recommend it.
Wow.
And then I watched one about, I think it's Netflix, has a bunch of documentaries about different albums. And I watched the one for Led Zeppelin 4, which is arguably top 3 rock albums of all time.
Depends who you ask. I mean, is Kardashian, that band I'm into now, are they part of the competition?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, the voting takes place in an ashram.
Is it a trans ashram? I don't know how the trans were collateral damage and you're hit against this great band.
Well, because it's the kind of band that you're not allowed to hate because they're international.
You mean like trans people?
And they've got a black
Greg.
drummer and a female bass player and a fucking long-haired trans singer.
Oh, they're good. They're good.
He's got
Led
bangs.
Zeppelin 4 is like remarkable.
It's remarkable, and it's also in the context of their career. They were coming off of touring like fucking maniacs after the critics panned Led Zeppelin 3, which I liked Led Zeppelin 3, but it was a softer album. It was very acoustic.
It's aged well though over time.
And then they come back with Led Zeppelin 4 with Black Dog as the first track, and it was announcing like, yeah, we're back to the hard stuff.
And Rock and Roll, I think, was track 2, maybe.
Rock and Roll, where everybody just attacks their instruments at the same time. It's insane.
It really is. Well, it's like I laugh now when I hear Rock and Roll. Like the other day, some AC/DC song came on. I should remember which. It wasn't from Back in Black. It was Bon Scott. And it's just like, God damn, like if I was the engineer in there, I'd be like, these brothers are lunatics.
Yeah.
Like it's just like, it really is rock and roll. I mean, there's no other word really to describe it, but it's just fucking balls out.
Right. And then of course Stairway to Heaven, which, you can say it's overplayed or it's corny or it's trying too hard to be esoteric. Try turning it off. I swear to God, to this day when it comes on, I still listen to Stairway to Heaven. It's just a fucking amazing song.
Yeah, I definitely don't listen to it anymore. But
No?
No, but I'm not knocking it. It's one of those things I'll eventually come around and like haven't listened to it in like 15 years, kind of like I did with Freebird. And then I listened, I don't change the channel. I'm like, Jesus Christ. It's one of those like art of the obvious things, which is like cliches are a cliche for a reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it's always number one. Whenever they do the 500 greatest rock songs of all time, not always, but on WNEW in New York on Labor Day, they always did like the top 100 rock songs. They'd count down. And it was the listeners would vote. And it was always Stairway to Heaven as number one.
Come on. All right, listen. If you're oh, Jesus Christ. If you're a listener out there, and by the way, I need to broaden my horizons. Like, I remember a writer once said, when you're ready, and I'm like, what do you mean I am ready? But they're like, I will give you the like primer for
primer or primer?
I know. I think it's primer.
No, it's primer.
You think primer?
I don't think primer. I know it's primer.
You know a lot of pronunciation, which is wrong.
Well, you don't even know how to say Krungbin, so.
Well, Wu-Tang, did I say that right? So
Yep.
It was going to be a primer/primer. He goes, you got to be introduced to it the right way, which is kind of how I feel about, but that's how everyone feels about their band, you know? Like, I think there's a right way to start hearing the Clash if you never heard them. Same with Dylan, you know? But good Lord, this album, okay, Black Dog Rock and Roll, everyone's heard that, right? But Battle of Evermore, Stairway to Heaven's track 4, clocking it at 8 minutes, 2 seconds. But Misty Mountain Hop 4/6. But here you go. The album ends with Going to California and then When the Levee Breaks.
Yeah.
And I told you that time, Led
The
Zeppelin.
sound that John Bonham makes on those drums on When the Levee Breaks is just one of the most unique, memorable, iconic sounds in rock drum history.
So you could Google When the Levee Breaks and movie trailer, I think, and you'll find it. But I remember, so Led Zeppelin famously did not sell songs, right? Their songs never appeared and stuff and all that. And then what's his name, who did Jerry Maguire and Almost Famous, you know, like legendary.
James Cameron? Not James Cameron.
No. God
what's
damn
his
it, this is the
name?
worst. I know it's frustrating as a listener to listen to two.
Fast Times at Ridgemont High guy?
Of course.
Yeah,
So anyway, he, because of like Almost Famous, where that was an amalgamation, I think, really of Led Zeppelin that the kid was traveling with and the
Cameron
Allman
Crowe.
Brothers. Because Cameron Crowe, as a teenager, got in with Led Zeppelin. Led Zeppelin was always kind to him. He even wrote the liner notes on one of their box sets. And so Cameron Crowe movies would have a Zeppelin song in them, right? And Almost Famous has an amazing one. Anyway, I'm in a movie theater before, and Cameron Crowe's really the
and
only
Fast Times at Ridgemont High plays Kashmir.
Right.
He even says if you want to fool around with a girl, always make sure you put on Led Zeppelin 4 side 2 or something.
Which was inaccurate, and all the Zeppelin nerds, right?
Because it was physical graffiti, had Kashmir on it.
So, I'm in a movie theater. It's some trailer for like a girl who's in an insane asylum or something like that, and she breaks out. Maybe she even has superpowers, whatever it is. But I'm just in the theater, and all of a sudden, like Legendary Pictures comes up at the beginning of a trailer, and you hear, and no joke, me and like 6 other guys in the theater were like, whoa, like no, audibly go, no way. And
Right.
you just heard movie theater speakers, and you know how loud the trailers are, movie theater speakers cranking the drums from When the Levee Breaks, and you're like, what the fuck is this? It was incredible.
What? Wait, the trailer for what movie?
I told you have to Google. I'll Google. You ready? Here we go. Led Zeppelin. Let's see what comes up. And movie trailer. It's called like The Asylum or some shit, I'm sure. I should do When the
Sucker
Levee,
Punch?
I guess.
Yes. Okay.
Sucker Punch. We can't play it, right?
No.
It's crazy. Apparently he was in a drum well. Whatever. We're sounding like the oldest people ever.
Yeah.
I got to get into Wu-Tang.
All right, you got to get into some Florida man too.
Oh. Am I reading this?
Why not?
Well, because I'm on a page that's Googled Zeppelin versus... All right, here we go. Florida man. Oh, this fucking guy gets allegedly... All right, what's his name? Matt? Gets allegedly showed off to other lawmakers photos and videos. This is kind of... Do we want to... there's probably all a bunch of ass-hurt listeners who will stop listening because we're criticizing a Republican from Florida.
Oh, no, I think the
who
Republicans
traveled a girl around for sex.
Yeah. I just think it's funny. One of the videos that he showed the other lawmakers was a woman do naked hula hooping, who I guess he knew. Like, it was a girl he was fucking, and he had her hula hoop naked. I could not... I took one topless picture of a girl in my life, and I had to beg her. And meanwhile, this guy's got a girl. How much do you want to see the nude hula hooping? That sounds fantastic.
Yeah. Well, when you begged, was she awake when you begged her? The one you took a photo of?
She was transitioning, so she was excited about the new developments.
Oh, wow. All right.
What is the nude activity you would most want to see? Yoga, volleyball, or
you
gymnastics?
asked me this already. Are you going to find different ways of asking me this question?
Did we do this story last week?
No. Earlier you said, what's my favorite position to look that I want to watch?
What's your favorite activity? Yoga, volleyball, or gymnastics? If you had to watch nude versions of each of those.
I mean, gymnastics would be really funny.
Yep. Especially the male vault.
I mean, they don't leave much to the imagination. There's not, I think all of them are smashing their ovaries, and then they're delaying their period till they're 36 years old on the uneven bars.
Right.
I would say yoga, right, is sensual.
Yeah, I think yoga would be the way to go.
Yeah.
Also, women that do yoga might have the best bodies out there. If I was a single guy, Mike, I would be going to yoga classes 3 days a week.
Oh,
showering, shaving. I mean, it's got to be the best place to meet women.
There's no doubt that you would be the biggest creep, known as the biggest creep in town, going to all the yoga classes. No one's doubting you.
Don't you think, though, if you went to the right yoga class and you just kind of chilled, you're not aggressive, but a lot of times everybody goes for a juice after class. People get to know each other.
Maybe.
Because you're talking about people that, number one, their bodies are in great shape. Number two, they cared about themselves enough to take themselves to a class. And number three, there's like a serenity that comes with the practice.
I don't think the classes you go to, people are achieving much serenity with this view that you're sharing.
Oh, because I'm creeping everybody out.
Yeah. By the way, you're not going to yoga for any of those reasons. You just made that very clear.
Yeah. I'm always the guy.
Self-realized at all.
I go in the front row, so when I'm doing a down dog, I can look down everybody's shirt behind me.
That's sweet. All right. If they're all nude, are the volleyball players still wearing knee pads?
Yes.
Good question. That's a solid question right there.
Even though they're on the sand.
All right. This is creepy. Let's move on to international. There you go.
A Philippines man allegedly died after being forced to do 300 squats for breaking COVID-19 curfew rules. 28-year-old Darren Manwag Panaradondo was out.
Oh, 28?
Yeah. He was out buying drinking water when he was apprehended by police. He broke the strict 6 p.m. to 5 a.m. curfew. His partner, Raikli Balchi, told media outlets that Penyandondo and other violators were forced to perform pumping exercises similar to squats as punishment for violating the regulations. Wow. Can you imagine doing so many squats that you died?
Something's wrong. I'm not buying it.
No. That's a big thing in the Philippines. When they catch people on the street, they beat them with sticks. They make them do push-ups. It's been pretty well documented. It's a big thing. Yeah.
Do you think his partner is a woman with that name?
Reichlin?
R-E-I-C-H. All right, Reich, whatever. And then Elyn, E-L-Y-N, if you spelled it correctly.
I don't know that you were allowed to have a same-sex partner in
That's kind of where I was getting. I don't know that to be true at all, but I'm wondering if this was a little gay bashing. I'm wondering if the police, it says partner, but I don't know. Something's going on there.
I'm telling you, hold on. I looked up, here's a Reichlin on Instagram. I'm going to look up and see if it's a he or a she. It's a she.
Okay, interesting.
And she's smoking hot, by the way.
Pumping exercises. All right, I'm not buying this story. Something's wrong.
I'm telling you, I keep reading about this happening in I've seen videos in the Philippines of them making people exercise when they catch them breaking curfew. 300 squats. I have done 3 sets of 10 squats, and my legs have ached for 2 days.
You did it with weight though, right?
No.
Oh no.
No, my son, I used to do these workouts with Owen because, he was a varsity soccer player. He's very athletic, and we had this whole setup in the back. I hung up a heavy bag and a chin-up bar, and we got all those rubber bands that you pull on, and push-up handles, yoga mat.
All right, we got it. Go ahead.
Kettlebells.
Yep.
So I would follow his workout,
Medicine balls.
I would be sore for fucking days every time I did his workout.
If you haven't done squats, like occasionally I'll be like, oh man, I'm going skiing in a couple of weeks. I better, I'm going to blow out a knee. The first day after the first day of squats, holy hell.
Yeah.
It's your hips, everything.
They say if you can do one exercise, that's the one you should be doing. But then my chiropractor said I should absolutely never do them. I threw out my back doing it once, and he's like, "You're not built for those."
So, that's funny. So,
but I think he meant with weights. I think I can do just standing squats.
I mean, just to even sound older. Anyway, when I was in PT, a guy goes, "All right, I'm going to teach you the greatest. It's called the greatest stretch in the world." I'm like, "Wait, according to you?" And some guy developed it, but it's like a squat with a lean, and then it's like a 3-part stretch. But what it really does is it's a great warm up because it's sinking, like it's kind of like reminding your body how to move or whatever. But I will send it to you. But it involves, I guess you would call it a lunge, which is a form of a squat, Yeah,
it's a safer squat.
It's the one leg out front, and then you put the elbow on the other side. But if you Google it, there are variations. But I do want to find it because it's very efficient.
I think burpees also. If you had to do one exercise, I would say burpees, especially with the push-up mixed in and a hop at the top.
Well, that's what yoga is. It's like, how can we stretch every part of the body?
Right.
Let's get a little cycle, a little routine. You know what I have learned though is, and the physical therapist told me this, and he was actually, when he was telling me about this stretch, he goes, especially as you get older, but your whole life, there's big pro and con arguments over if you want to bench your high of all time, right? There's huge debate over, do you warm up or is that first burst? And Chris could probably talk to this, right? I think Chris is lifted, but or do you,
every time he stands up, he's pushing 250.
Are your muscles stronger if they're not warmed up? So there's big debate on all these sides, right? But one thing the guy goes is, especially as you get older, you should at least give your muscles a little warning the movement you're going to make. Because let's say you're bench pressing, that's a coordination of a lot of muscles that have to fire in order. And he's like, that's what I mean. So if you could even do just the bar, 45 pounds, just to show, tell your body, hey, this is what's coming, but there's going to be a shit ton more weight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hey, look at that. How to do it's called the world's greatest stretch. Step forward with your left leg and lower your body into a lunge. As you go down, place your right hand on the floor so it's even with your left foot. Now move your left elbow, I'm already lost, inside your left foot and rest it on the floor. That's fucking stretching. And then move your left hand outside your left foot and twist to reach for the sky.
Yeah, this is all just yoga. By the way, if you're ready, man, whenever you're ready, I do a yoga class every Sunday morning on the beach, literally 200 yards from your house.
I'm doing it. You know, I'm coming back, right? I already started working out a little, and it's too soon. I have 3 more days of Accutane, which I don't think I've shared on this. It's been fucking torture, and my body is a wreck. I have to get out of bed anyway. I'm not going. So what she's told me, do not work out. You'll definitely hurt yourself at this point. But anyway, my body starts to come back like within a week, I think.
I love it.
So I'll do yoga.
There were a woman from the UK named Rebecca Roberts experienced the extremely unusual phenomenon of getting impregnated while already carrying, leading to the birth of twins conceived 3 weeks apart but born on the same day.
Wait,
the incident
she
was caused by
a twin to her stomach. I guess by definition, it would have to be.
It's like when you make fried eggs and you crack one into the pan, but then it takes you 40 seconds to get that second egg cracked into the pan. But you don't take them off at different times. You take them off at the same time.
I didn't know you went to medical school.
The incident was
Clearly
caused by a rare case.
Fraternal twins.
The incident was caused by a rare case where the body of a pregnant woman fails to perform a number of biological processes meant to stop her from getting pregnant again. Yeah, like, honey, stop fucking me. I'm pregnant.
Yeah, like keep it in your pants.
Jesus. One time I went to visit my friend Chris. This is a long time ago. And his wife was pregnant with their first baby, and she was due like the next week. And me and Aaron went to their house to meet them. And I guess we were early. And as we walked up to their door, we walked past their bedroom window where we could see them fucking missionary style with their huge belly sticking out. It was awesome.
What do you mean sticking out if they're missionary?
Well, he was on top of her. And
laying on top of her.
Yeah, missionary style.
So no belly's sticking out. What do you mean? First of all, how long do you guys hang at the window?
Not that long. I mean,
that's the question I should ask you. When you're looking in windows, what position do you most like to watch?
I like doggy style when they're faced away from me, so they can't see me hanging in the tree.
And you're doing a downward dog, looking through your legs at them just to keep it, normal for you.
So anyway,
this is a dirty, dirty podcast.
I know. Let's get to sports. Let's clean it up.
Okay, the Masters. There's a guy, Siwoo Kim, the South Korean, who was placed in the top 10 on the second day of the Masters. So he slammed, I didn't see this, he slammed his putter headfirst into the ground in anger, and he broke it in the process. So he's the 49th player in the world. He also threw his golf ball in the water. This is not the stereotypical, like, Asian restraint.
Easy.
No, what do you mean?
But you can't say anything about Asian people right now.
Oh, I can't throw them a compliment that they're even like tempered, or at least they appear that way, or they have self-control. Sorry.
You can't. You can't give any attributes to any race, good or bad, anymore.
Oh my God.
None of them have anything in common.
How am I going to do that as an Irish person? They're saying. All right. As a result, on the biggest stage in golf and still in the hunt for the coveted green jacket, Kim was forced to putt the rest of the round using his 3-wood. And he did all right.
No shit. That's awesome. I wonder if they're going to charge him a fine for doing that. Sometimes they levy a fine for not being a gentleman the entire time.
Well, in tennis, it's, racket abuse or whatever it is. And there's penalties. I don't know if there's fines. I guess maybe if you get a couple of them, but they dock points eventually. First, you get a warning, I think.
Right.
McEnroe used to.
He destroyed his putter, and then I heard he also wrecked his bumper when he was leaving the parking lot later.
Okay. All right. Feels weird having gotten a lecture from the mouth that just delivered that joke, but okay. Should we move on to science?
Let's do science.
You gonna crinkle the fucking paper or what? NeuroLink, the brain implant startup founded by Elon Musk, has unveiled a new video of... Oh, my God. All right, we're just moving too fast as a world. It's unveiled a new video of a 9-year-old monkey named Pager playing the video game Pong... with his brain. Pager has 2 NeuroLink devices implanted in his brain. Musk claims the devices would allow someone with paralysis to use a smartphone with their mind faster than someone using thumbs. So I had to read this article twice before I could completely digest it. What's interesting to me is the little teaser video that shows what the goal of this thing is going to be. So the goal is I can't move my limbs, but now with the chip, I am able with brain waves to communicate and have a machine, a robot, do something for me, like kind of like moving the Pong thing. So I can now text you because I guess maybe I can look at the letters. I think that already exists, by the way. They could tell what letters you're looking at. I think people already have that. But
Yeah.
I guess you can think, I want to go to the store at 2, and that's what we'll type out. I'm imagining it's something like that, right? But
Yeah.
But the teaser is you've put these chips in a monkey, but the monkey's playing Pong. It's like, I think those should be reversed. I think that's way more impressive than a human in a chair communicating with his things. Then, first of all, forget the brain thing. Can you teach a monkey to play Pong with a joystick? I'd even be more impressed with that.
Yeah, that's a good question.
A
But
monkey
obviously you
understands
can.
that this dot. First of all, who knows what they're even seeing? Like I think different eyes have different frame rates and stuff. That's why animals can see in the dark, and they can see heat. Like I don't know, man. I'm blown away by the monkey playing Pong.
Yeah, that is pretty impressive.
Forget the handicapped person.
Yeah.
Wrong word, of course.
I wonder if they're good. Like, I wonder if he could beat a human at Pong.
Right. I don't know. Or like Code of War or whatever. I can't even think of a war video game, whatever they are.
I'm so unadvanced I literally stopped with those Atari games. Pong was, I think, the very first video game.
I got into some VR ones, but not any of the like Call of Duty or any of that crap. Like,
oh yeah, you got that VR thing. You had that thing 6 or 7 years ago. You
I
were
got
way
it pretty
ahead of
early.
the curve.
It was wild. It was really because they came to work and they did a presentation on it. But you're climbing Everest and all this stuff. It was pretty amazing. So anyway, yeah, man, this monkey's playing Pong. Wildly impressive. So what they did is first it had a joystick. And also, of course, it had a tube that was giving the monkey banana. So the monkey was sticking around and was motivated and incentivized and rewarded to play Pong. And then I guess the experiment slowly took the joystick away. But the monkey, I guess, had gotten the concept of Pong and then was playing it with its mind.
Damn.
Yeah. So
our producer, who, as we're standing here saying this podcast is too dirty, writes, how long until it evolves to visit Pornhub? I don't know, Chris. How long does it evolve until you realize that we're trying to change the tone of the podcast? Pong started in 1958, he wrote. I had no idea. I remember playing it on the computer in high school in 1980. I remember playing it on a computer, but it was like using the Control A and S keys.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was the first one in bars, though, like the badoop, badoop, da boop,
Yeah, right.
It was the first, like, video, I guess the first leap beyond pinball machines.
Yeah. Let's do some business, Mike.
Oh, God. All right,
Bitcoin, we always track Bitcoin for you. It's been pretty flat the last month, hovering around 60,000. And if we go to our Investopedia contest, which wraps up on July 4th.
we have a new leader?
No, same leader. This guy, Nick Allen's still up. He's up to 200. He's down. He had a down week, lost about 10 grand. He's at 229,000. And our loser is still our loser. Fitter 111 is down to 97,000. No, he's down to 30,500. I'm at 97,000, starting with 100.
So
I got some stock tips for my broker. You're going to see some big changes in my account.
That idiot. Oh, what's my daughter at?
I couldn't find it.
Oh.
Because it's like 370 people now. I couldn't find her. I don't have all day.
I was going to get in this week. That's true. Like I promised I would.
Yeah, get in this week, and I'm going to make my changes.
And I sensed it wasn't going to tank this week. I'm only interested right before the tank.
I think it had a solid week. I think S&P was up this week.
Yeah, so I'm going to short. I'm going to go in on my shorts this week, I think.
The companies that my broker said are going up. First of all, he told me Tesla's going up. This is the same broker I called a year ago. And I said, I want to get into Tesla. I'm hearing tips. He talked me out of it. He said that their production is too slow. They owe too much money, all this shit. Tesla, I would have made 10 times my money if I put it. So now he's telling me, oh, I got a good tip, Tesla. Oh, really? That's fantastic. Should I also try to fuck Lonnie Anderson now?
Greg, I just told you they got the minds at Tesla have a chimp playing Pong, for Christ's sake.
That's right. Ford,
all right.
He said buy Ford, buy Southwest Airlines, and then there's another stock.
All right, Olivia.
XPEV, which is a 3D system which is going to take off.
Is that Chris moving his cursor? So what does that mean next to my daughter's name? It says 11,500.
Maybe she's got 115,000, maybe.
That's the oddest way to write 115,000 ever. 11?
I think QAnon moves the period over.
Dot space 500.
I did not write that.
Okay.
I guess that was already there.
There it is. Can he look it up? Can you look up Olivia G?
I think it would take a little while.
I can't wait till I trash her in this game and she loses everything. It's a win-win. I just need the market to tank. Waiting 11 years. All right.
This day in history, we talked about him earlier. Robert Allen Zimmerman. Who knows how many other men arrived in New York City in the winter of 1961 looking like James Dean?
I didn't know this was this day in history today.
And talking like Jack Kerouac. Blah, 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 blah. Why is it this day in history?
Did you put it in there?
I did, but...
So the liner notes...
Oh, he got his first gig in New York City this day in history. He opened for John Lee Hooker at Gertie's Folk City.
Yeah, that was the reason he went. What he got through was dying in a New Jersey hospital, and he went there and he visited. And "Song to Woody," which he wrote for Woody Guthrie, was on his first album, and it was one of the only originals. Because Bob Dylan's first album had a lot of covers.
Yeah.
It might have been his only original. I used to know that stuff. But anyway. Yeah, and then, he was, talk about ahead of his time in every single way, but he was so bored with the press and hated the press that he would make up a different origin story. Because everyone, like when Hammond signed him, Hammond was this legend, with... who
the
had
organ.
Huh?
Is that the guy who made that organ?
No, wrong guy. But famously, like Aretha Franklin and just, think Billie Holiday. Anyway, he was a legend and was known for his taste and that he could find these future legends. Anyway, they're like, whoa, where'd you come from? And he just would make up different stories, Dylan would, every time he talked to the press. That he was an orphan, that
he rode the trains all
he
around
rode
the West. Yeah.
Boxcars all over. Yeah. So I kind of admire that about him.
Yeah, and he talked about it. He wrote a verse about that first gig at Gertie's. After weeks and weeks of hanging around, I finally got a job in New York town. In a bigger place, bigger money too. Even joined the union and paid my dues. We forgot to mention, by the way, in terms of as far as unions, that the Alabama Amazon voted down joining a union this week. Incredible to me. All the multinational corporations are consolidating, getting bigger, pushing down wages. How do you possibly vote down a union that can only help you? Oh, because I don't want to pay the dues. The dues aren't that much, considering what they're going to make you. It's so fucking short-sighted.
All right. I hated reading that news, but I have not read the story, so I don't know the details. But I do know that economically it did not make sense. But I'm sure there's a real short-sighted thing going on there. Also, I bet Amazon sweetened the pot. Why wouldn't they do that in every location that's having one of these, pro-union movements? Why wouldn't they raise the pay? Why would, also they're competing against a minimum wage, which was like $6.75 an hour or something like that?
Yeah, they were paying $15 an hour plus benefits, which for Alabama is fantastic. But all these Amazon outlets are talking about how bad the work conditions are. And you know, and the bottom line is, like, a union is always going to benefit you, and Amazon is going to open in other places where $15 an hour isn't competitive. And, the problem is that they got into their heads. They made mandatory meetings where you had to sit down and get these talks, these anti-union speeches. They put up signs, anti-union signs all over. They intimidated people. I'm just very pro-union. Anyway, whatever. People are going to fucking hate me talking about this.
I know, but if you don't think, and again, it's a corporation, it's not a person, it only cares, it's going to try to make the most money off of you as possible.
Right.
It's just, listen, we're in the Writers Guild, which my uncle used to make fun of as a union because even in the Writers Guild, the standard contract, you can be fired every 13 weeks.
Right.
And he's like some union.
I know. I know.
But what I will say is, to all these people who are like free market, I'm like, okay, all right, so do you want to hear free market? Like, let's say when I was helping launch James Corden's show, right? So that's a big deal. Here comes someone filling the 12:30 slot, right? On CBS, it's a network. This is 6 years ago. And I go, the person who's telling me, let the free market. I'm like, well, I would have done really well. I mean, like really well. Why? I'm like, well, I would have made my workers pay me, using your free market. And he's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, what don't you get? I go, everyone wanted that job. And I could have asked them, how much would you pay to work for me? And I would have gotten paid. And I could have taken the people that paid me the most. And he's like, what? I'm like, no, I had to hire 7 or 8 writers. All of them would have paid me to work there to get their start.
Right.
And I'm like, that's cool, right? Free market. Yeah. And he was just confused and didn't even know how to talk about it. I'm like, you fucking asshole. I'm like, what do you think? The dock workers, they were lined up like crazy. If they had said, put a week in for free and then we'll see about giving you a paid gig, they would have had no choice.
Oh, no, there's tons of jobs where people pay for the ability to work. It happens at strippers. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, look, I was raised in a union home.
Taxi?
My father was in the radio union.
It's a lot of service industry, yeah.
My mom lived off of his union pension after he died at a young age, and I've paid my health insurance with union wages for the last 20 years. I'll have a little pension so I don't have to eat fucking cat food when I'm older. And they've protected me, and I've struck. I've walked the picket line twice for the Writers Guild, proudly. It's the only thing we have against big business is the unions, and they're broken. They need to be fixed, but they're still a broken union is better than no fucking union. I'll tell you that
are there overreaches? Yes. Even my uncle would talk about it. Like, he worked with union guys, and he was a steam fitter, so he's welding. But he would come in a room, and if he, let's say he moved something, let's say he moved a pipe or whatever it was, there'd be another union guy who would take that literally, and I'm now just I'm ruining the story and I don't have all the exact terminology, but it was something like his work environment had changed. He could put down his hammer and stop working.
Yeah.
And walk out.
Right.
And my uncle would just be like, "You're fucking giving us a bad name here."
Right.
Like,
Exactly.
you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so, sometimes the rules are, there's overreaches, and if you take it by the letter of the law and not use common sense approach to it, and there are abuses, of course, but it's what you said.
Yeah. There's a lot of propaganda. This country is very caught up in, voting against themselves and acting and, supporting big business because they think it's going to trickle down to them. Guess what? Doesn't trickle down.
It's crazy.
Celebrity deaths, the obituary section.
And that's all, folks.
Quick shout out to DMX, who was he beatboxed for other rappers before writing his own lyrics. We got put out on LL Cool J's album, which kind of launched him. Had a contract with Def Jam Records, and blew up.
5 number 1 hits.
He was an actor. He was in Belly, Romeo Must Die, Exit Wounds, a bunch of movies. But he also had a lot of legal troubles, arrested a number of times and served several prison and jail sentences. As a rapper, you really need that. Reckless driving. I remember it happened in Westchester. He was on the Sawmill River Parkway.
Really?
Yep.
Huh.
Resisting arrest, carjacking. Carjacking. Jesus.
I didn't know he was in Newark.
Drug possession, animal cruelty.
No, really?
Yeah. And then tax fraud. He really covered the spectrum.
You want to dabble a little white collar crime in there also?
So a lot of tributes came in for him.
White collar crime.
So
that's really what it is. White collar crime. They just change it to collar. White collar. That's a weird phrase.
yeah, and then blue collar. I guess work shirts used to be blue. Is that the idea?
Yeah, like Jay Leno. Denim.
Wife beater crime, beating your wife.
Redneck. A lot of ways to describe workers. Wetneck. Very racist against Latinos.
Here's some letters.
Is that different than redneck?
You
I
done?
don't know. I bet redneck's racist. Of course it is, right?
I guess so. I mean, they used to be called hillbillies. Then they became rednecks. And now they're called MAGA.
Oh, boy. I'd be interested in the first use of redneck, like the first popular use of it. Like that would be interesting, I bet.
Yeah.
It's probably like, oil rig workers or something like that.
I would think more of like cotton pickers. Like I
Hello?
think of what?
I thought the redneck
I'm thinking
police
back
were
to
breaking
when
in.
there was black people picking cotton and white people picking cotton. I think those would be called rednecks.
This is where you saw white people picking cotton in your mind?
Oh, they pick cotton. Oh, don't kid yourself. There
When?
was black people that were indentured servants. I mean, white people that were indentured servants.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, you're always trying to say that blacks can't really own slavery, that whites went through it also, it's offensive.
The Irish were, there was a rumor that the
Here he
Irish
goes.
were held as slaves in the Caribbean, but the truth is they were indentured servants. They were sent there to pay their freight to go west. And they were whipped and they were beaten and they were killed while they were picking, what did they pick in the Caribbean?
Potatoes.
Probably sugar.
If you're a slave owner in the Caribbean and you need people out in that equator sun all day and a fucking ship unloaded Irish people, I'd be like, what the fuck are you doing?
Right. I know.
All right, I
But
got to
the
get
difference
lights because
is-
these fucking guys got to pick at night.
Yeah, and they're drunk at night. But but they did get their freedom. They earned their freedom as opposed to the slaves who were held forever. So a little different. Let's get to some letters.
Oh, thank God.
This woman named Joni. I seem to really have a crush on these guys.
Oh my God! Finally, a new woman. All right, I like
know.
it.
Oh wait.
What?
Joanne.
Oh,
I misread it.
all right. Well, it still feels good. I gotta say.
This guy, Mark says, "Hey Greg, when I was in college at RIT, I had to visit the campus doctor because I broke out in hives. He was a very old, just as in response to I talked about the Boston University doctor and how old he was. He was a very old German guy that had the voice of General Burkhalter from Hogan's Heroes. There was a giant glass jar full of pills, and he used a metal scoop and just put a fistful of pills into a small manila envelope."
It sounds like the chess series where they had the sedatives for the girls.
Oh, right. He then instructed me on the dosage, and he pronounced antihistamine as antihistamine. Very Nazi sinister, a la Raiders of the Lost Ark. Well, which is it, Hogan's Heroes or Raiders of the Lost Ark?
Yeah. Also, all of his Nazi references are comedies. What's that about? You could just refer to Nazis.
I know there's been a lot of Nazi comedies. You go back to Charlie Chaplin, did a bunch. He used to do Hitler impressions, and then you had obviously Mel Brooks,
and then the Italian Benedetto Laffi all the timey, whatever his name was, doing the the concentration camp comedy.
Which one?
And This Beautiful Life or whatever it was called. He won the Oscar.
Right. And then you had, Quentin Tarantino's Inglourious Bastards had a big comic element to it.
Well, I guess that what's famous is you'll know this when I say it, a Jerry Lewis screenplay about the Holocaust.
Right.
And people have gotten a copy of it and they have readings of it. And it's apparently this atrocious screenplay of like some type of court jester. And it sounds like Benedetto, whatever the fucking guy's name is, it sounds like his thing.
Yeah.
Like someone being funny in a concentration camp.
Yeah, that Jerry Lewis thing was called The Day the Clown Cried.
Oh. Everyone talks about the Jews and the Poles and the Gypsies, but a lot of clowns were round up also.
That's right.
Yeah.
Then this guy, Jay Hutchinson, says, "Hey, Greg and Mike, big fan from north of Ireland. I'm sickened by the royal family talk on this week's episode. These people are from a line of the most despicable cunts to ever exist on the planet. All the media attention that balding cunt and his thick cunt of a wife are getting makes me sick. So please keep the royal family talk to at least a minimum, unless that old bag dies and we can all celebrate by spitting on her grave. Fucking ghoul."
Very close. Very close, Jack.
That's right. By the way, Greg, if you book your family holiday to Ireland, I'd love to show you around. Yeah, this guy, hey kids, this is a Jack. He says cunt every few seconds. Otherwise, he really knows his way around Belfast.
Yeah. He'll give you a very even, sort of fair-minded tour of Northern Ireland.
Yeah, he's going to teach you how to throw rocks at some of the tanks.
Well, Jack must be raising a glass to the death of Philip.
Yeah, Philip died. He was 99. That's got to suck to die at 99. You almost fucking made it.
I know, yeah. I wonder if he knew he was 99 at the very end.
Oh, was he out of it?
Well, there's no telling.
Yeah.
I watched a
damn it.
little of The Crown, right? He was very frustrated with his role, right?
Oh, my God. Dude, you only watched a little of The Crown?
I got
I
the
hate to
gist.
say it. I fucking hate the British, but at the same time, I really love The Crown.
Yeah.
No, it's really good acting. It's really good writing.
No, it's very well done, of course. But so, right, he sacrificed a lot. Obviously, he didn't like that role. That's
Yeah.
what I saw in the beginning. Like he was Was he almost out? Was that even like?
Yeah, they almost divorced. He was a philanderer, and he was a drunk, and he kind of abandoned her for a long time. But then he came around.
Right.
I mean, look, if you're going to marry into the royal family, you got to understand what you're getting into. None of these people seem to get it.
Oh, well, he was royalty, but it's also a little emasculated, right? He was like, kind of an aggro dude. But,
Right.
You're a prince married to a queen.
Right.
Just by that definition,
Yep.
And
you don't succeed her. If she dies, the sons get in.
Oh, totally. I wonder what becomes of him if she predeceased him.
Well, he'd still be a prince, right?
But his son is his king?
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
See, people thought we were like talking. I know shamefully little. Maybe not shame. Jack would
Not
say,
shamefully. Fuck these
Jack-
cunts.
Oh boy, I know, but you still want to know about cunts. So I guess his son now he has to pledge allegiance to his son, the king.
Yeah.
When his wife dies, it's almost like he's a stepfather.
Yeah, you're always an outsider. When you're the prince, you're always an outsider.
Yeah.
That's not how a marriage should be. All right, let's get to the funnies.
Oh God.
Hagar the Horrible, and when I say horrible, I mean horrible.
Uh-oh.
They are standing, him and his goofball friend are standing at the bottom of a tower, and he says to his friend, "Stop, I'll rescue Rapunzel. You can rescue Rip Van Winkle." Rip Van Winkle's beard is hanging down the tower with the idea that the dumb guy's going to climb up that, whereas Hagar has chosen to climb up Rapunzel's hair and then rape her. I mean, why else would he be going up there?
Well, without that little nice ending, it's very Family Circus-ish. Like, we know Rapunzel had a long beard.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah,
I like you saved it for sure.
I hope so.
Yeah.
The Lockhorns, it's uneven. Sometimes they put out like a 5-panel on Sundays they put out the 5-panel cartoon. And I would say this week there was only one that was really worth reading. She says to him, they're in a fight, his arms are crossed, she's pointing in his face, "I didn't marry you for your money, Leroy, but I may divorce you for it." That's nice.
There you go. Yeah.
Um,
By the way, I looked up below that Paul McCartney and Heather Mills. I still didn't find the explanation of why she got all that money on a 4-year marriage.
yeah.
I don't even, was it even 4 years? But and some experts chiming in saying, yeah, that seemed low because it's so low in proportion to his money.
Yeah. I don't know. England's weird with finance. England, the fucking tax rate for the top is like 90%.
It used to be that in the United States.
Yeah, that's right. Let's get down to the family circus, Mike.
This is truly, I know I say this a lot, but you tell me. I'm just, without judgment, I'm just gonna do it. So the little fucker's in bed and the light's off. So this artist, it looks like he has a head of gray hair. This guy doesn't know how to do. This guy doesn't know how. So maybe this is actually the best family circus ever. Now that I'm looking at it, maybe the kid went to sleep and he slept for 60 years, and that's why he's asking his mom, who's opened the door. She's still dressed and is holding like a kitchen towel, and he goes, "Did I have supper, mommy?" So that's the whole fucking thing.
That's the whole thing.
Did I have supper, mommy? Which is like not even a placeholder. I don't even know what that is. But now that I see this fucker's gray hair, keep in mind, it's not like it's black and white or something. He has a blue shirt on.
Yeah.
maybe it's a little, maybe I have Rip Van Winkle on the mind, but might he have been sleeping for a few decades and that's what's going on?
I don't know, but the mother has this look of suicide emanating from her eyes. It's almost like the mother she's not in on it. She's not in on Family Circus. Everybody else is kind of in on the joke. They're all, it's very deadpan. It's very deadpan. But somehow he always puts just a little bit of suicide on her face.
Did I have supper, Mommy? Mommy, do I have that disease where I become an old man by 11? That should be the caption.
All right.
What happened? My hands have spots on them and they're wrinkled.
Yeah.
And my hair's gray. Yeah.
Blondie's going to cheer us up. Dagwood, like the piece of shit loafer he is sitting on that blue chair with his feet up.
Yeah, here we are again.
Blondie comes in with a pea green mini skirt and a striped green shirt, sleeveless, her bosom protruding. You can see side bosom in the second frame, which I always respect. She says,
the
"Dear,"
horizontal stripes are not slimming.
No, she looks a little thick.
No, I'm talking about her chest.
"Dear, didn't I ask you to fix the dishwasher while I was out?" And without even looking at her, he goes, "Oh, you were serious about that, honey?" And she turns on him, squares off, hands on the hips, and she goes, "Do you seriously think that you can make me think I wasn't serious about fixing the dishwasher?" Final frame, him in a fucking apron scrubbing dishes, and he goes, "I gotta say, she did sound serious that time." Yeah, maybe you should listen the first time. Dagwood, what the fuck? What do you think the weekend is? Have you worked that hard? Because most of the strips are about you sleeping at your desk at work. You don't come home and fucking ignore this woman who asked so little of you. I would have had that dishwasher out. I would have bought a new one. I would have done a fucking rack of dishes.
Also, what's he doing in that last frame? He's not fixing the dishwasher.
No, it doesn't even make sense. He's supposed to be fixing the dishwasher, and he's doing dishes.
The word serious makes an appearance 4 times in almost as many sentences.
Yeah, it's not the strongest one. It's not strong. It's not a good way to end Sunday papers, Mike. Why don't you tell a joke?
A joke?
Yeah.
Where did we just hear old jokes recently?
I've been watching Curb Your Enthusiasm, and they throw some in. What was one they just told?
No, I think you were involved. There was something recently where there were old jokes. Shit, I'm the worst. And I'm always like, I'm going to remember that. Well, there was the Moosecock one.
Yeah, the Moosecock one is good, especially if you give the punchline away in the describing of the joke.
No, that's the setup.
All right, do it.
Oh, I'm going to slaughter it. Oh, I know where it was. It was when we were doing Bert's podcast.
Oh, right.
We told some jokes. No.
When does that come out, by the way?
I think 2023. I'm pretty sure. He's stacked up. So I think it's an old joke where they're going to play Password, is it, or something like that? Like, I'm slaughtering it. I'm
with
very
the Queen.
tired.
I think it's the Queen.
Yeah, the royal family's around. They're like, let's play a game. And you have to guess the game. You're given a word, and you have to give You have 3 clues to give. Like, is it bigger than a bread box? Baba, what is it, living? And all that stuff. And so anyway, the Queen gets handed the word, and the word is moosecock. And so she's like, all right. And so the person... I told her wrong already.
No. The prince gets the word moosecock. She's got to guess.
Right. So, you're gonna trust me with the end of the joke? So basically, she's like, all right, let me think of a question. She's like, can you eat it? And the prince, looks at the other people and looks it down. He's like, all right, I guess so. Yes. And the Queen's like, okay, is it moosecock?
I fucking love that. Except a British accent might have given it a little
Is
extra.
it moose cock? Yeah.
By the way, Chris Denman just wrote down in the Google Doc, Bert said, quote, the podcast I just recorded with Greg and Mike is the best or one of the best podcasts I've ever done. Leanne said she could hear you all across the yard. He said this in his pre-show before Nate Bargatze episode.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
We were on fire.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we should try that with our podcast.
Hey, now.
Come on. No, what's another good joke? Oh, well, someone told that joke about, the monkey having his way with the sleeping lion. I heard a different way, though. I heard the amazing Jonathan tell it on the Aristocrats documentary. I think that's where it was.
Yeah.
But that basically the way I heard it was two monkeys, right, or gorillas or whatever in the zoo, and they see and they see a lion sleeping. This is the way I heard it. And the guy goes, well, how much do you give me if I go over there and I fuck that sleeping lion up the ass? And the guy's like, you can't do that to the king of the jungle. He's like, no, of course I can. He's sleeping. I can totally fucking do it. So anyway, the gorilla runs over, jumps into the lion's cage, sneaks up behind the lion, and quickly fucks it up the ass. And then the lion wakes up furious, and the fucking gorilla takes off, and the gorilla's running, and he runs into like the reptile like building, and he sees a security guard there, and he fucking tackles him, and he takes the security guard outfit, and he picks up the guy's newspaper and hides behind the newspaper. Lion comes tearing in, and he runs up to the gorilla's just security guard. He's like, hey, did you see a gorilla run through here? And the gorilla bends down the newspaper and goes, the one who fucked the lion up the ass? And the lion goes, oh, it's in the papers already? It's so funny. I love that joke.
This guy comes into his front door, opens the front door, walks into the house, and he's got a pig under his arm. And the wife is standing there, and he goes, this is the pig I've been fucking. And she goes, you've been fucking a pig? He goes, I was talking to the pig.
That's a good one. There's some of the, anyway, this is the last one, but I have to write them down because they're classic ones I always forget. But one of my favorites is that old joke about the guy's losing his hearing. So they go to the wife brings the husband who's losing his hearing to the doctor. And the doctor's like, so what's going on today? And what can I help you with? And the guy's like, huh? And the wife's like, he said, what can I help you with today? And the old man's like, all right. So he tells him about his hearing. So the doctor's like, well, how long has it been? You noticed that your hearing's been going. He's like, huh? And the wife's like, how long have you noticed your hearing's been going? And the guy's like, oh, all right. So the doctor kind of sees what's going on. And the doctor's like, all right, listen, I'm going to need a blood, a stool, and a urine sample. And the old guy's like, huh? And the wife's like, give him your underwear. I like that one.
Old guy goes to the doctor's office. He walks in, and the doctor goes, hey, Mr. Bernstein, what's going on? And he goes, well, it's kind of embarrassing, but I have a drip coming out of my penis. Yeah. And the doctor says, oh, okay, well, let's take a look at it. Drop your pants. Pulls down his underwear. The doctor gets on one knee, cradles his cock, takes a look at it, and he says, Mr. Bernstein, have you had sex recently? And the old guy goes, as a matter of fact, I did about 2 weeks ago. Why? And the doctor goes, because you're coming.
I like it. The doctor
right.
jokes are classic.
It's the only way to go out. Don't forget, folks, support the podcast.
Oh, this is
support
a long
your own
one.
lawn. Get yourself some... Get yourself some Sunday. Go to Sunday. Wait, what's the website called? GetSunday.com/papers. Get $20 off your custom lawn plan at checkout. We'll see you guys next Sunday, as always.
Yeah, I had no energy coming into this. I won't be a year older next week, but my label will be a year older.
Well, happy birthday. Any plans? Any kind of party?
What do you mean a party? Yeah, I'm going to go to Florida into a packed bar or Michigan. I'm going to go to Michigan.
All right.
No, nothing really. That golf course is tough to beat. That outdoor cafe thing, cheap outdoors. It feels very un-LA.
Yeah.
May go to dinner there with the girls. May go to a drive-in movie.
Right.
Because they're all over LA now. You know, Santa Monica has 2 drive-ins now.
I know. Oh, 2? I know about the one across the street here. Where's the other one?
It is at the Sears Park. You know what used to be the Sears?
Yeah. End
By
of the
the
3rd
10
Street Promenade.
and
Yeah.
Lincoln, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Might do that.
All right. Well, let me know if you do Raising Arizona. I may jump in on that.
Sounds good, my man.
Okay. See you next week.
Take it easy now.
Take it easy.
I love to wake up to Sunday papers. My weekend is set on you. I love to wake up to Sunday papers. To Greg and Mike, I must be true. No other part or paper would do. You're the one that I want. You are the one I want. Sunday